Hello, welcome back to New York Talk, episode 173. I'm your host, Elyse DeLucci. Welcome to my kitchen. We're here on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Fact of the day, Naples, Florida, somewhere I'm heading this week. Naples, Florida, home to the top 20 best beaches in the United States and also a swamp sanctuary. I don't really know if the second part of that fact is a selling point, but you know what? That's what I hear. It's a top 20 best beaches because it's on the Gulf side of Florida. Not to say that the Atlantic side is, shabby, but the Gulf side is very gorgeous. If you haven't been, it's worth going. Although, depending on where you're flying out of, right? Like when you go to Naples, if you're flying out of New York City, at the gate, you're going to see a lot of people in walkers and wheelchairs. It's a little different when you're flying onto the other coast, maybe into Miami or whatever, because you see people that, we're not quite there yet. Yet is the operative word. But I will be there May 1st at Off the Hook Comedy Club. I don't know. Maybe I'll draw there. Maybe I won't. We'll see. I'm still pushing the show, so I hope to see you there if you're listening. I was just in Naples, though. Oh, my God. I feel like I'm living there a little bit. I was just there a few weeks ago for my mother's birthday. Me, my sisters, and my daughters, we surprised her for her birthday, and she was totally surprised. My mom had a condo in Florida and then decided one day, woke up from her slumber and was like, you want to know what? I'm going to live here full time. And that's what she did. She just up and left. And we were like, what? So she made the full pilgrimage to the Italian-American Riviera, anywhere in Florida. And she's there. And we went and we surprised her. And she was really surprised. She had the condo upgraded to a house. And, she was outside on the lanai, aka what we call in the city, a terrace. And she was watching TV because she has a TV hanging on the wall, on like a cement wall, on this lanai, which is, cool. And she wasn't facing the sliding door. So we walk in the house, headed straight back towards the, the terrace lanai. And she's facing the other way, watching the television. And so when we said surprise, it was like really surprising. I think she was going to have a heart attack, but it was good for everybody else but me. Do you know why? Because I had violent food poisoning. Starting the morning that we left. I mean, I got to be honest with you. I don't know how many people would still be going on this trip if that was happening to them. I don't know if my mother, thank you, Ma, would actually come to New York if she was vomiting all over. I threw up at home the morning of TMI, but at home, in the cab on the way to the airport, in the airport, on the plane. But my kids were so excited. The thought of not going was going to crush them. And, they also got to miss a day of school. So that was, that for a kid, that's just, forget it. That's everything. So I couldn't not go. If it was just me, probably I would have said, Ma, come on. But actually I would have told her husband because it was a surprise. But you want to know what? Here's the silver lining. Nothing like food poisoning to jumpstart a diet. Okay? That's that. I was there for 72 hours and all I had was 3 saltines and a half a banana. It was a beautiful thing. I had a full detox and I came home with a flat stomach and and that's that. And I'm sticking with it. Obviously, I did talk about my Ozempic gummies, semaglutide gummies a few weeks ago. But that's we'll get to that eventually. Not on this episode because they didn't work. That's the problem. You want so bad something to work, a diet, and the thing is if you want to take something for a diet, you probably shouldn't take a piece of candy and think it's going to solve your problems. I remember when my mother years ago did this diet called the Smart Cookie Diet. And she came home, I don't know, maybe I was in high school or something. She came home and with these cookies and she said, don't eat these cookies. They're my diet cookies. And I was like, what? And and she said, it's the small cookie diet. And it wasn't like Snackwells. Remember Snackwells? Remember the Snackwells lady? That was a job. Now talk about a job. Talk about a coveted television commercial job, okay? I would be a great Snackwells lady, by the by. But anyway, not Snackwells Foods diet cookies. It was like a real diet, that if you ate, I think, 2 cookies, like for breakfast and maybe for lunch or something, it was like served as a meal replacement. Let me tell you something. I was too young, so I don't remember. But all I'm going to say is even if you had, right now, a Chips Ahoy cookie, one for breakfast, one for lunch, and maybe like a salad for dinner, and say you drank black coffee throughout the day, I think we'd all lose weight. Okay, so I don't know. I don't remember the details, but I don't know how genius I think that is. But unfortunately, the gummies semaglutide, didn't work. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what I'm gonna do about that. I think I said a few weeks ago the injections, but I want to do it. I want to do it. Okay, moving on. Turkish Delight. Do you like you see the problem here? You see the problem here is that I go from food poisoning to dieting to cookies to weight loss something or other, and then candy. Okay, like candy. So Turkish Delight. Here's the thing. I don't know too much about Turkish Delight, except when I was married, my father-in-law, Barry, loved Turkish Delight. He loved Turkish Delight, and he kind of had like an interesting palate, this guy. And I mean, blame it on the Brits to have interesting palates, but he liked this Greek wine, Retsina, which has like if you ever go to a Greek restaurant, order a glass of Retsina. It's a white wine. It has a very pungent kind of taste. Not for me. Like if you like a Sauvignon Blanc or something like that, you're not gonna you're not gonna like this wine, right? But he had this pungent-ish. He had this interesting taste buds. He liked this Retsina pungent wine. He liked Turkish Delight, which obviously is a confectionery candy a lot of people don't like, and he liked a lot of interesting cheeses. I don't when I say interesting or unique taste buds, unique for like Americans. Do you know? I mean, everybody all over the world is different, but he loved Turkish Delight, and I haven't met many people in my life that have loved Turkish Delight, although I think my auntie loves it, my mother's sister, who we call auntie because she lived in London when I was born, because that's how ridiculous my family is. And I think she loves Turkish Delight. In fact, if I see her at Easter, maybe I'll bring her and not Easter, Mother's Day, maybe I'll bring her a box. But Turkish Delight, so how this really is in my mind is because my friend, one of my girlfriends, who's a newer comic, posted about a factory, a candy factory, like a wholesale outlet called, I think in Washington, called Aplets and Cotlets. And I said to her, what? Commented right on the post, banged right on that keyboard. And I was like, what is Aplets and Cotlets? And she said, well, she just linked it actually. It's Turkish Delight. It looks like it's one of the only American-made brands of Turkish Delight. And how the website describes, this candy is Aplets and Cotlets, a classic American fruit and nut candy made by Liberty Orchards in Washington, Kashmir, Washington. Oh, sounds so luxurious. They're known for their chewy texture, blend of sweet and tangy flavors similar to Turkish Delight. Okay? Okay. I need to order a pack of these. I'm assuming I could get them on Amazon. I will. Maybe I'll tell her to send me, a little baggie. I think that is it. By the way, my throat is a little throating right now. It's like it feels like ugh. Anyway, so I have to tell her. I'm gonna say, Mandy, send me some of these Aplets and Cotlets. Let me see what the big thing is. But Turkish Delight, I've tried through the years, particularly if I was buying it or, you know, I was curious when Barry mentioned it, whatever, father-in-law. And I think at the time, I probably bought it like from Home Goods, you know, like from TJ Maxx. And it was a horror. Because apparently Turkish Delight, bad Turkish Delight is very bad. And what it is, you know, I probably should explain what it is. Turkish Delight is nuts and fruits that have, you know, are like chopped up, you know, finely chopped, chunks, whatever, bound together kind of with like a gel and starch and sugar, and then are dusted, you know, like in a powdered sugar, right? Like rolled in a powdered sugar. They're like little cubes usually. And they have also inside, though, the nuts and the fruits they have a flavor. Sometimes they use rose water is popular, pistachio, orange blossom water, bergamot, you know, which is like a common perfume scent or candle scent, which, by the way, Le Labo makes a gorgeous bergamot perfume and shower gel if you want a tip. Oh, like, I love it, and it's such a fortune, so I don't have it. I only have a little, like, sample size. Anyway, moving on. But if you have a piece of Turkish Delight, some people will say, oh, tastes like my grandmother's house, tastes like my grandmother's perfume. Or they'll have that pungent rose water taste, you know, and they wince and all that. Obviously, if you go to, you know, countries in the Middle East, you know, rose water, orange blossom water, they use this in everyday cooking. So to them, I'm assuming it's you know, it's sort of a normal taste. But there are arguments on Turkish Delight, on like where it originated from. Apparently, like, you know, obviously Turkish people say, oh, it came from Turkey, and Greek people say, no, it came from Greece, and then Armenian people, they call it lokum or something to that extent, and they think it came from, you know, Armenia. So, and has this interesting, you know, origination story. Nobody really knows where it came from, but it's around, and the cheap Turkish Delight tastes cheap and nasty. And I haven't really tried wonderful Turkish Delight, and I am going to. There's a place, new chain in Manhattan called The Nuts Factory or Nut Factory. And I'm assuming they have Turkish Delight. I'm going to go in there and find out. And hopefully they have a decent brand. And I will, or a decent quality. And I'll have to keep you posted. But let me just say this. Now that I'm remembering, actually, I don't actually think the first time I heard of TD was from Baza, the father-in-law. I think it was from The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because have you ever read that book, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe? You know, Narnia. The children, I think, when they're in the wardrobe or they're in Narnia, they talk about eating Turkish Delight, like the most delicious candies and, you know, whatever. I think that's maybe where it first was lodged in my mind. But anyway, I'm going to try it. Excuse me, my throat's so clogged. It's terrible. I think I'm actually a little lactose, which is sad because I love cheese so much. But Aplets and Cotlets, I'm going to get that. I'm going to go to Nuts Factory. And I might even pop over to a shop downtown. Why is the name escaping me? Oh my God. Not a Salt and Battery on Hudson. It's, It's a British, shoot. What is the name of that store? Hold on. I have my computer. Hold on. British Food Store, Hudson Street, NYC. Okay. Oh, Myers of Keswick, or I think they actually call it Keswick. But Myers and Keswick is a store on Hudson Street down in the West Village, and they will have likely the Cadbury version of Turkish Delight. Fry's Turkish Delight. It is made by Cadbury. It's for the UK, Ireland, Australia, and it's rose-watered, flavored candy, and it's covered on all sides in milk chocolate. I heard it's terrible, but I must have my lips on it. So more to come on that. And if you obviously have tried it and know a good brand, DM me. Living room makeover, full effect, is in full effect, you know. I had a lot of, well, not a lot, when I pre-divorce, I had a blue, dark blue, gorgeous, rich, royal, gorgeous blue, Van Dusen blue, beautiful color, look it up. Benjamin Moore, Van Dusen blue walls and the leopard wall-to-wall carpeting and the blue couch, sectional, just, and a tufted blue ottoman. Everything was gorgeous. Hunter green tasseled velvet drapes. But then, I changed as time went on. As you know, if you've been listening to this podcast, we turned it into sort of the Barbie world. And it was pink and leopard and still with the green curtains and the whole thing. And my daughter said to me, the pink was hurting, the pink wallpaper, the pink wild, she calls it, wild pink floral wallpaper with green, stems, whatever it was, whatever kind of flowers. Mommy, it's hurting my eyes. Okay. That's such a British person thing to say. The wallpaper was hurting her eyes. She said maybe if it wasn't our main living room, then it would be fine. But the fact that this is the room that we live in, she wanted more of a calming room. Oh, okay. That actually sounds like something Paul would say, the tooth. But, fine. She wears glasses. Maybe it really was upsetting her. So I took the paper down. It was removable paper. Yes, it did leave stains. Wasn't a fan. Got it on Wall Shop. It was part of the Sarah Jessica Parker collection. Not that matters, just as a piece of info. Apparently Wall Shop was supposed to have, it was that wallpaper was supposed to remove seamlessly. But, nothing's foolproof. And come on, everybody lies. It did remove easy-ish. It just left a few adhesive marks. So I had, the maintenance guy come up, fix up the painting, which is nice. And I had to take out the wall-to-wall leopard carpeting. That killed me. I love the wall-to-wall carpeting, but having a dog is not easy. I had what are they called? The high luxury laminate something or other put in. It's not what is that thing that we used to, not linoleum. It's not like that. And it's not like the squares of wood kind of thing. It's very nice. I did a lot of shopping for it. I went to Home Depot. I went to Lowe's. I looked around at the like this Pergo kind of flooring options. And I needed something that was absolutely scratch proof, absolutely waterproof. I just don't want to, after having the rugs with kids and a dog, I just don't want to deal with it. And, Paul was like, tooth. He was like, oh, what are you getting the rug taken out because the dog's like, going to the bathroom on it? No, but did the dog have accidents on it? Yes. And is that disgusting? Absolutely. And that's part of owning a dog. And did I know that really when we got Elmo baby? Yes-ish. Not really. So anyway, I wound up settling on Core-Tech, which is, I wasn't able to get at any of those stores. I had to get it through a flooring store in Manhattan and, have the install and the whole thing. And it was installed. It's gorgeous. It looks like wood. It's wipeable and it's scratch proof. I'm looking at it right now. I do have a rug pad and an area rug over the center because, in Manhattan, it's like you got to cover 80% of the floors or whatever. And, yeah, they had every color. They had everything. And my girlfriend, Stephanie, she has one of the Home Depot ones in her basement. And she was like, does it look like mine? And I said, no, because yours is nice, but yours is like more for basement flooring. Hers is, I think hers, you might even roll it out, kind of thing. So anyway, I'm very, very happy. And the living room, my couch is staying purple, and it's just going to be cream with the wood floors and cream pillows and gold and probably crystal, because I have, like crystal-y things around. And that's it. And my Yadros, whatever. Very simple. And when the day is done, whether it's the children's day or my day, we will come home to this Zen room that mommy has delivered. Moving on. Oh my God, have I been watching great TV. Now, well, let me say, great. The show I just finished, I didn't like. Face to Face with Scott Peterson. What an animal is that guy. You remember the Scott Peterson case? And that doll of a wife, Lacey Peterson, and their unborn child. Remember that? 20 years ago, Lacey Peterson, she was 8 months pregnant. It was around Christmas time, and then she went missing. And then they found her washed up ashore. Well, I watched the Lacey Peterson documentary on Netflix, and that was so sad. And then Peacock has a Scott Peterson face-to-face where the Los Angeles Innocent Project is picking back up his case. God knows why. They think he's innocent, and they're trying to retry the case after 20 years. Give me a break. You're going to put the family through this, and they're interviewing Scott, while he's in prison, on a Zoom call. And he's emotionless. He has no emotion. It's sociopathic. Like, even they show you, like, scenes from the courtroom, when they were sentencing him 20 years ago. Not a tear, not in anything. You just got to watch it. You just got to watch it. I don't believe that this guy is innocent. I believe he's a horrible monster. If you know the case, he had a girlfriend on the side. He was leaving messages to the girlfriend saying he's in love with her. It's good. Another good show I watched, Gone Girls on Netflix. I hate to say, by the way, good, because these are sad shows. Gone Girls on Netflix about the Long Island killer. Again, good crime doc if you want to watch it. If you're in Long Island, you probably remember this case. It was where a bunch of girls were washing up, bodies were washing up ashore in Suffolk County, and it's just terrible. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, I watched season 2, Life After Lockup. That's decent. The Twister doc, very interesting. It's about Joplin, Missouri. It's like the Twister hotbed in the U.S., and it's graduation day, class of 2011, and all these students, they're about to collect their diplomas, and next thing you know, the town is hit by a rare, I think Category 5 tornado, and some people were thinking that it was the end of the world. Some people were like, it's not that bad, and stayed behind, and you see, like, interviews, obviously, from the tornado survivor. There's interviews from the tornado survivors, but you also see footage from some of these people's cell phones and stuff. And to see an actual tornado, some of them are caught in the eye of the storm. I mean, it's really, like, wild. So, definitely interesting. Definitely worth watching. And Handmaid's Tale. So happy. Handmaid's Tale back out. They're releasing episodes, dropping 1 week. Ugh, I want to just watch the whole thing straight through, don't you? Like, I get so frustrated, and because there's so much other things in our lives, and we have such, the short attention spans these days. I don't want to wait till the following. I don't even remember. Anyway. That's my recommendations. So, that's pretty much it for today. Product of the week is a tea tree foot cream. A tea tree foot cream. I read about it in a magazine or a website. I really got to stop saying magazines, although I do subscribe. New York Mag, Vogue, and the New Yorker, but I think I'm like the only one in my building. But I read about it, and the brand is called New York Biology Tea Tree Oil Foot Cream for dry, cracked feet. Hot and sexy, I know. And it's on Amazon, 8 ounces, $10. It's like this big green jar. It's amazing. Like, I don't have dry feet, FYI. And no, I'm not trying to, just brag about that. That's not a selling point of Elyse. But I don't. But what I like is I like tea tree oil so much, and I like to put it on sometimes, with like those paraffin gloves, or I like to put it on my feet and put socks on and sleep. It literally makes my feet, when I wake up, I put this cream on my feet, and this is like no joke. I put it on, put the socks on, fuzzy socks. I wake up, feet like butter. Like butter. Don't you want feet like butter? I thought so. Anyway, worth getting for $10. I mean, like $10. You can't even get Chick-fil-A for $10. By the way, speaking of money and food, do you know? I'm so outraged by this. I have been outraged by this for weeks. My daughter's begging me for Shake Shack. I don't know, a few weeks ago. Whatever. Chris was at the house. Fine. I said, all right, I'll order Shake Shack, and I dialed it up on Seamless, and I ordered the normal order, nuggets and fries and whatever. And I think my daughter's asked for like an extra pack of nuggets. Fine. $120. $120 for 4 people for French fries and burgers and chicken nuggets. I am like, what is this world freaking coming to? That's all I'm going to say. Quote of the day, Frank Sinatra, little petty, but I agree. The best revenge is massive success. I'm Elyse DeLucci. This has been episode 173. If you find yourself having Turkish Delight, please DM me. I'm dying to try it. I love to love you, and I will talk to you later.